Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Andy Roth alongside Phil Duvall. Say hi, Phil.
Andy, guess what we did last night?
What did we do last night?
We saw The Hobbit, although we are filming this before we've seen it. But by the time people watch this, we will have seen it. So I want everyone to see this face. Okay.
Phil,
Yes.
don't ruin the magic of the podcasts for people.
Oh, okay.
It needs to seem as if they are watching it happen live.
Hey, remember last night when we both were seeing the movie in different... Oh my God, I just realized you're going to see the movie 3 hours before I do.
Yes, that's true.
I hate you for that.
I know you do. Yeah. Just think if you die as the credits are starting, you would have finished the movie if you were here.
Dang.
Huh?
Okay. Now I'm miserable. I knew there'd be a way to find a way to make me miserable. We found it.
And we're moving on.
Just the right place to start this podcast. Andy, it's a Friday. You know what that means.
It's another viewer mailbag, Phil.
Viewer mailbag!
Yay!
Yeah.
We continue to get excellent submissions from you guys. Thank you so much. It is awesome. And so we're just gonna dive right into it. First question from new but not brand new contributor Daniel. A simple question, Phil. Do you watch trailers?
Oh, Daniel, good question.
Thank you. That's my Daniel impression.
We talked once before about the fact that trailers are all online now, and so we don't watch them the way we do the movies. When we were in high school, there was a channel called E. I think E is still around. I just don't acknowledge it anymore. But they used to have a thing that was just coming attractions for an hour straight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I would watch it. So Daniel, does that give you an insight? There's a column on the website called Grantland where these two guys watch these upcoming trailers every week together and talk about them. I would love if you and I did that, but it's too late. They're already doing it. And I watch almost every single trailer. I love trailers.
Yeah.
I also hate trailers for what they can be.
Yeah.
I love trailers for the potential to get me excited. I hate when you're watching a trailer and you're like, okay, got it. Now I don't need to see that movie. There was a movie called salmon fishing in
Yemen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw the preview, and the first 30 seconds of the preview I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this movie. It looked so charming and fun and original. And by the end of the trailer, I was like, okay, never mind.
Yep,
and it wasn't because it looked bad all of a sudden. It was literally, I was like, you have literally wrung every sense of tension or suspense out of the movie and put it in the trailer. Forget it.
Yep. Yes, I want to say I agree with you. I am a trailer junkie. I will watch trailers over and over and over and over again, which is the good thing about them being online. But I will say this. I could tell you the trailer for which the trailer which got me more excited than any other trailer or teaser trailer in the history of the world. You ready? You don't know this, I don't think. Die Hard 2, Die Harder. Are you ready for why?
It had the Christmas music.
And it came out like a year and a half before the movie. And just the knowledge that I was going to get another Die Hard movie. And I saw it in the theater because the internet wasn't around, because I'm 87 years old, it was literally a tease. And I was like, I can't wait. I want to get in line now for that movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, that will never happen again. And I'm a little sad about that I will never feel that again, or feel it in the same way. But I love trailers. Trailers are the best. And they can be the worst. But yeah, totes.
The very first trailer, we really are broken records a little bit here, but I am. But the very first trailer for Lord of the Rings, the very first one, was like the sort of prologue talking, and you didn't see anything but just words and font, and then it just flashed to Gandalf coming over the hill, and it was that slow-mo shot with the like tuba playing,
Right?
and the seven going over the hill, and that was it, and then it was over. That was the whole trailer. It was just like, this is literally a teaser, and it was like,
Nine, isn't it? Isn't it nine?
sure, why not?
Yeah,
9. Yes, 9, 7, 9, whatever.
yeah.
And then the other thing is,
But yes,
remember the first time? You remember the first time before we realized how bad it was going to be when they just saw the shimmering of the Lucasfilm Limited for episode
oh,
1?
oh my God, so good.
It is the embodiment of possibility for movie
Yes,
lovers.
that's it.
And I want to say something actually about the fact that you mentioned we can watch these all on the internet. I watch them on the internet. Then when they come out, I don't go looking for them, but when I see them, I watch them. I don't actually go looking for trailers at all.
Sure.
But when I see them, I watch them. That's kind of to my own detriment because there is nothing more exciting than going to the movies and seeing a trailer for something you've never seen a trailer
Yeah.
for before.
Yes.
And I mean, assuming that it's something that actually excites you.
And that
When
doesn't
you
really
see a
happen to
trailer
me
for
anymore,
something,
frankly. It
what's
doesn't
that?
happen. That I agree with you, and that really doesn't happen to me anymore. I pick up everything on the internet, even if I don't go looking for it, and I usually don't.
It does happen to me from time to time, and there are times when I'll make the decision I won't watch that trailer because I want to see it in the movie theaters. Stuff like that. That
Yep.
has happened.
Yep.
So yeah, I've stopped watching all the. Well, anyway, that's another subject. But I also want to. I need a shout out needs to go to Steve Martin because Steve Martin is a genius in many, many, many ways, of course. And one of the ways that Steve is a genius, Steve Martin, I say Steve like we're buddies. One of the ways that Mr. Martin, whose work is very dear to my heart,
Yes.
whose books are very dear to my heart, whose comedy matters to me, Steve Martin, during at least 2 movies that I know of, made trailers with scenes that were not in the film.
Nice.
There is a trailer for the movie Parenthood that is them all, the group, all trying to do a group family photo and him trying to take the picture. And like he's trying to do the timer and then get into the picture. And it keeps taking pictures of people doing the wrong thing or him like stepping in front of the camera or like a billion things going wrong. And that's the trailer for Parenthood.
Awesome.
There's a trailer for Dirty Rotten Scoundrels that I remember better than I remember the entire movie. And it's not in the movie, where it just shows the 2 of them all dressed up, slicked up, him and Michael Caine, walking down a pier. And they walk by an old lady, and he shoves the. You remember this?
Yes,
it's
I do.
not in the film.
That's right. You're right.
Everybody remember. Well, not everybody, but you remember it. I'm sure there's a ton of people who remember this. It's not actually in the movie,
Awesome.
right?
Awesome. Trailers, Daniel.
That's the way I believe all trailers should be made. I think trailers.
Amen.
I think they should shoot extra stuff that has nothing to do with that has something to do with the movie and make it its own piece. And do that.
Yes.
So.
Awesome. Next question. From YouTube viewer Ladarius. In movies where there is a clear protagonist and antagonist, how important is a quality villain? For example, Avengers versus Dark Knight. I thought the character of Loki in the Avengers was weak. In my opinion, a good bad guy is absolutely essential.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on what you mean by essential. I mean, yes, a movie will be better if the bad guy is amazing, but I think what I actually mean when I say that is that there's a balance because the hero is going to win, probably.
Preach it, Andy.
But, like, you have to believe that there's a possibility that he won't. Hannibal Lecter, one of the great villains of all time, if Jodie Foster weren't, and yes, she's, like, the new agent, and she's up and coming, and she's young, but she goes toe-to-toe with Lecter.
And with Buffalo Bill.
Yes.
Who's the actual villain of that movie, by the way.
Who's the actual villain, right. Well,
can I say something? In my opinion,
yeah,
he's scarier than Hannibal Lecter for me.
That's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair. But but that's so when you invoke Loki, I know what you're doing, but the reason that I disagree with that particular example is it allowed for the Avengers. That movie was stuffed to the gills. And
Yep.
what using Loki did was it allowed, because most, I know not all, but I would wager a good portion of the people who saw the Avengers had seen all of the Marvel movies leading up to it. Certainly the box office.
Some of us saw all of them in a row on that day in the movie
So
theater, followed by the midnight
jealous
showing.
of you.
Oh,
Jealous of you.
amazing.
The thing is, if you had used a different villain for that, you need at least a little backstory.
Yep.
Whereas with Loki, and I agree. I mean, he's never gonna.
Can I
I
jump
mean,
in here?
yeah, please
Okay,
do.
because I think here's the thing. First of all, Ladarius, that's a fantastic question, and it's an important question,
Yep.
particularly with comic book heroes. And you mentioned the Avengers. The knock on superheroes is generally that the strength of the movie is based on the villain, and that the villain is more important. And because the good guy will stay the same throughout the franchise, but the villain, and I actually think that that's problematic. Because I think, but it's true. I remember when I was a kid, I saw Batman the original, which was
Mm-hmm.
my favorite movie for a very long time. And
Nice.
by original, I mean 1989, Tim Burton. That's the original. And I remember when it came out, and the logo is so etched into my memory forever. And above it, it said Nicholson, Keaton, and it really, because I was a kid, I was 10, and it really bothered me that Jack Nicholson's name came before Michael Keaton's, because
Nice.
Michael Keaton was Batman.
Right. Right.
He's Batman. So in my mind, it didn't make any sense. I didn't understand the stature of who Jack Nicholson was at the time, because Jack Nicholson didn't make a lot of children's films.
Right.
So this was the first time I'd even seen Jack Nicholson in a movie. What a wonderful introduction to Jack Nicholson, who is, as I've said before, my favorite actor, by the way.
Yes.
And sometimes forget that part of the reason is because of the Joker.
Nice.
But people talk about the strength of the bad guys, and I think you see it in that movie, but the detriment is to the development of the main character. It happens to the detriment of the development of the main character. The beauty of the Avengers, and you're right, Ladarius. Like the fact is, like, Loki is not. He's not that interesting, quite honestly, to me either. I mean,
Sure.
he's not uninteresting. I don't think it was a bad choice, but it was a perfect choice. But because instead of thinking a lot about him, you are able to focus on the development of the relationship. And so, in other words, oftentimes the knock on superhero movies would be like, Batman really should have been called the Joker, or Superman
Right.
really should have been called like Return of Lex Luthor or something like that,
Right.
because they're so this and that, right? The Avengers was rightly named the Avengers.
Yes. That is
Because
true.
because it was actually about the development of that team,
Yep.
and the fact that the bad guy wasn't the biggest deal in the world actually helped that.
Yes. Good
And
question.
and I think there's something really smart about, in terms of long term, in terms of longevity, of creating characters, investing in the characters that are actually going to last, rather than the ones that might not necessarily make it through the next film.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, and I think actually Tim Burton, to be fair, I think Tim Burton worked harder at developing who Bruce Wayne was and Batman was than other people have done with superheroes.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that.
And I actually think Sam Raimi did a fantastic job with that as well.
I do.
I mean, I think in fact, I'm going to say this. Are you ready? Superhero movies.
Yep.
I have a brother who will disagree with me. Spider-Man 2 is the essential superhero movie, comic book movie. Right now, I've decided, because it balances development of the protagonist with development of the antagonist, that they are actually equally developed in Spider-Man 2. Sit
with that as your definition, I agree with you. I agree with you.
with that obviously there are many definitions, but
Right.
there's something
No, I'll go
really
with that.
fascinating about the balance between the good guy and the bad guy.
Yeah.
The new Spider-Man actually skews towards Spider-Man.
Yes. I agree.
I don't think this counts for every movie either. I mean, when you think about the Indiana Jones movies, Indiana Jones is a great example where the bad guys are really awesome, all of them.
Yep.
The strength is really on the story, and you really get to know Indiana
Yeah.
Jones, and you fall in love with
Yep.
him.
Yes.
So,
That's
you
true.
know, huh?
Yeah. Thought provoking.
Do you
Ladarius,
think
nice job.
episodes 1, 2, and 3 would have been less awfully craptacularly terrible if they had something like Darth Vader throughout all three of them? If they had a bad guy that was as iconic,
No. No, they would have been just as awful.
we would have been able to focus on something.
No, we wouldn't have.
No, I'm just because I mean part of the problem with it is it becomes this political intrigue story, which is lame. But if it was about
Right, but think about that for a second, Phil. If it's a political intrigue story, who is the like what is we had the Darth Vader of that story, and it was
right,
Palpatine
so
as
if
he
there
was
was
senator.
if it had been just the Emperor the entire time, like as the Emperor, and you saw the Emperor as one character rather as this senator who becomes a this and becomes a chancellor, and then there's also Darth Sidious and Darth Maul and Darth Hoobadooba
Right.
and Skibbity Dabbity. I don't know.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I think that the prequels are irredeemable.
Oh no, of course they are. Agreed. I'm just
And
talking in an alternate universe.
yeah, I think I mean marginally less terrible is
I
my
will be
answer to that.
really interested to see how 7, 8, and 9 choose to deal with this issue
Sure.
because I really like to see how they treat. Um, is it going to be one bad guy or is it going to be like I'm
Right. I think
continuing adventures of? It'll be
I
really
think the
interesting.
sneaky dumb decision in a forest of dumb decisions about the prequels. I think the sneaky dumb decision, not that we didn't realize at the time, but I feel like we've forgotten it. It was a terrible decision to kill Darth Maul at the end of the first movie. I just
Oh my gosh!
terrible. Like that was terrible.
Agreed.
I guess my answer to your question is this: it didn't make episode one more watchable, and there was a villain that commanded our attention. So
Every scene with him was amazing.
yes, that's true.
Okay, next question.
I don't disagree. Next and last question from viewer contributor Vanessa. Hello, Vanessa. What will be the first movie you will watch with your kids?
Good question, Vanessa. Well done.
Um, I want to set a ground rule here. Clearly, one that is I assume what you mean by this, Vanessa, is one that is not aimed solely at kids. Like like a feature length Blues Clues, I'm guessing is not what you're going for.
Right.
Right? Big Bird
Right.
Goes to China,
Right.
probably not what while a quality cinematic work,
Mhm.
not what you're going for. You may have already faced this issue because, frankly,
I have. It's been done. It's not what will I. It's what have I. What are the
because
movies that
frankly,
I chose to?
Pixar doesn't fall into that caveat that I just gave. But whatever. What did you watch?
The first movie we watched was The Muppets.
The new one.
No, that's not true. The first movie we watched was the new Winnie the Pooh movie,
Awesome.
and it was awesome. The
Awesome.
second movie we watched was the new Muppets movie, and the third movie we watched was Wall-E. And my daughter right now is obsessed with Wall-E.
Internet.
I have now
Mark of a
seen
good
Wall-E
dad.
6 times in the last week, easily.
Awesome. Awesome.
It's getting a little interesting. I'm getting a little ready for, but it is. I mean, I still get goofy at the same spots. That's what's
Sure.
funny.
Sure.
So I have found that I can control this child's dreams and desires
I like it.
as best I can. Yeah. So that would be that. That would be that.
I like it. I don't know that I don't know that I have decided completely, but it's down to the final very few, and I'm gonna go with uh, I'm gonna go with
Hellraiser.
yes, the Wild Bunch. Um, I'm gonna go with either one of these, the Neverending Story, um, the Goonies.
How old is this kid going to be before you show him a movie?
Young.
You can't show a kid Goonies at 2.
I watched The Neverending Story at 4.
That's fine, but not at 2. At 2, it would crush you.
Okay. Well
It's
then,
okay.
well
You'll
then, my
learn.
answer's
I don't.
probably
This
going
is
to
going to
be
sound really condescending.
My answer's probably going to be Pixar. Something from
Okay.
Pixar.
Okay, but
But
continue. So,
but
Neverending
but my
Story,
not
Goonies.
but my non-Pixar answer, because
Okay.
Pixar is, it's
Yeah.
like we talked about, Daniel Day-Lewis is like playing a different game. Pixar's playing a different game. They're doing something. What they're doing isn't movies. We haven't made the word
It's
for it yet.
magic. It's
Right.
magic. The word is
Uh,
Pixar.
uh, it's going to be The Neverending Story. It's going to be The Goonies. I might leave it. I might leave it at one of those, and I'll tell you why I chose those. The Goonies, because I want, I want my child to have instilled in him or her a sense of adventure, and not only a sense of adventure, but a sense of adventure with the movies, like both of those things. Um,
Yep.
and The Neverending Story, I love because it is a movie about imagination, and I think that is just impossibly important. And so,
It doesn't matter that it's a bad movie about imagination.
I will disagree with you on that point. I love
That's
that
fine.
movie. I love that movie.
Hey, listen, man, it's a free country.
You are the worst. You're just,
I'm gonna be even worse than you think I am. I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna sound so condescending, and I think you know how much I love and respect you,
oh,
right?
oh my God. Okay, lay it on me.
Your answer will change when you have kids, and
Sure.
what you're saying makes sense to me because the movies you're talking about sound like things you will totally want to watch with your kid when they're kids, when they're old enough that you can be like, check this out, and they're like, yeah, daddy, I liked that, and saying those words. But they're going to want to watch movies sooner than that or something on TV, and you're going to go crazy from watching stuff. And so you get to actually pick things.
Right. Again, this is my non-Pixar division, and
No,
I
no, but I
mean,
mean, I chose Winnie the Pooh. That's not Pixar.
no, that's fair,
And
but
Muppets is
like,
also not Pixar.
right, but my right. But if the question is, what's the first movie? Okay, I watched Herbie Goes Bananas and The Cat from Outer Space before I watched The Goonies or Neverending Story,
Okay,
uh,
that's a fair
or
answer.
or
That's a
or
fair
Princess
answer.
Bride. But my father did not choose those for me, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Can
Yes.
I draw that distinction? And I don't take exception to that. Of course, I mean, it's like what, I'm gonna have a kid and my life isn't gonna change at all. Of course, that's a dumb
Yeah.
statement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
within that world, uh, the first, let me, so I guess it is my answer to the question slightly modified. What is the first movie I will intentionally show my kids?
Fair enough. Good
Um,
answer.
there you go. Wow. This was we dealt with some weighty topics today, Phil. I like it.
Little heavy. Little heavy.
A little heavy. Ugh. But we got a weekend to digest. We got a weekend to digest it, during which time you and I will probably see The Hobbit about 12 more times.
I will. I already have tickets for Friday night for tonight, so I will have seen it twice by the end by Saturday.
Nice. Nice. I like where your head's at. I like where
We'll
your head's
see what
at.
happens then.
I might be doing a double feature of the 70s, the John Carpenter version of The Thing, and the 70s Invasion of the Body Snatchers for
You
eight
can't.
bucks.
That's yeah. That makes sense.
I
That's a
might do that.
legitimate
So I
decision.
might. So number two of The Hobbit might be during the day on
That's a
Friday.
legitimate decision. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe also I'm really tired because I'm old. So I might.
Are you
Yeah.
gonna? So are you gonna see it differently the second time? Are you gonna see it
Yes.
on a different?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
So
going
I'm
high
seeing
frame
high
rate
frame rate the first time, and then I'm gonna see it. And then I'm
IMAX.
gonna see it IMAX 3D the second time, and
That's
then
my
the
plan
third
too.
time I don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Bananas.
Right. Right. Well, gosh, guys, I'm sure this discussion of how we're going to see The Hobbit has been just the perfect capper to this viewer mailbag and to your week. But
Whatever. We're amazing.
we are amazing. It's been another amazing week at Second Breakfast Podcast, and we love you all. And
We do.
we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye bye.